Hey, it's Corey, Success and Mindset Strategist, and wanting to talk briefly this evening about mindset and mental health. So, this topic comes from a recent video where I spoke about how important it is to start to become more mindful of our thoughts and more mindful of how we want to feel, and being a little bit more prescriptive of how we want our day to go and what we want to create for ourselves. And a friend commented that she felt this might stigmatize people with mental health issues. And this is in response to that. And my take on this is that if you have serious depression or struggling with serious mental health issues, please get help and please seek support, because often when we're in dark periods of our life, the hardest thing to do is seek support, and the easiest thing to do is isolate. And so the most important thing you can do if you're really struggling with a deep period of depression right now is to please seek support. If you don't feel comfortable talking to friends or family, please reach out to a crisis line or seek out a therapist that you can talk to through this, because a lot of times when you are going through this, you do feel like no one understands you. And to be around people that have been there and have overcome it is super, super important. Where mindset comes in is more when you are going through dark periods in your life or low grade depression, that you're still able to function, but something just feels off, that you're just kind of feeling flat and maybe a little bit discouraged or down. And that's where mindset can really make a huge difference. And for me, when I was going through a pretty dark period, what I had to do was reach out first and know that I wasn't alone. I did seek out support from a therapist and eventually support groups. But what helped the most was just trying to find, initially, a state that was a little less miserable than my current state. So, for example, it was really hard for me at that time to get out of bed. And so I was talking to a friend and she suggested just get up and sit on the floor. And so that became, okay, I'm going to try just to get 1 degree of better feeling or better state of being. And so I would get out of bed and sit on my yoga mat. I often didn't do yoga, but getting out and changing my physical space and being on my yoga mat helped. From there, it was again, once I was able to get out of bed and sit on my yoga mat, the next step of trying to reach for a better state was going outside and just spending some time outdoors and getting fresh air and letting the sun shine on my face. And then slowly again reaching for that next tiny step, and that was to walk around the block. And so it was just building on the previous step. I got out of bed the first day, and then the next day went outside, and then maybe 2 days later I went on a walk. And it's just trying to find that next state of feeling or state of being that is just a little better, feels a little less miserable than the previous state. When you are in that place where you're finally starting to make a little bit of progress, that's when you really need to start working on your mindset. And mindset did help you if you already are getting out of bed, going on walks, because there's something going on in your mind that's wanting something different than what you're experiencing. And so just being able to capitalize on that and start to catch yourself when you're going down that rabbit hole of everything's awful, there's nothing good in the world, and there's nothing good about me, and critiquing yourself and being negative about yourself and your situation, is to start to catch yourself when you're having those thoughts and to pause and acknowledge what's going on right now. Why am I feeling like everything is awful? And seeing if there's any information there that you might want to learn from, or if you just need to acknowledge it so that you're not suppressing it, and that when you suppress it, it just comes back even stronger. So acknowledging it, and then even asking when you're in the right space, is that absolutely true? Is it absolutely true that everything is awful and I'm a complete wreck or complete mess? And finding some evidence in the contrary. So no, I actually got out of bed today. I actually went on a walk today. So things are getting better. And so finding evidence of the contrary to help fight those negative thoughts and disprove those negative thoughts. And then as we get stronger, it's taking another step. And once you acknowledge this negative or limiting belief, it's then seeing how you can replace it while still acknowledging it. So an example would be, I'm continuing to get stronger and feel better every day. So you're acknowledging that you're not quite where you want to be, but you're acknowledging that you're getting better. Or I am continuing to grow in my career with ease. And so acknowledging that you might be some discomfort as you're trying to grow, and you're stating your belief that you're becoming better. Does that make sense? So how mindset can help is the more we start to build on these positive beliefs and the more we start to look for evidence of these positive beliefs, the more they start to replace those old limiting beliefs. And that's when it becomes super powerful to really be deliberate when you first wake up in the morning and deciding how you want to feel, how you want your day to go, how you want to show up, and then picking activities and experiences and situations that will help give you that feeling and help give you that outcome that you desire, so that you're starting to take a little bit more control over your mental state and over your feelings, which is a huge thing. Instead of reacting to something, you're training yourself to learn better how to respond. So basically, a lot of the mindset work is just retraining your brain, rewiring your neural networks, because when we have been in a thought pattern of negativity, that neural network is like a superhighway in our brain. And so when we're trying to use this alternate route of believing in ourselves and believing that we have some control and there is something better for us, we have to start to disintegrate little by little the old superhighway and make this positive thoughts and positive beliefs our new superhighway. So it does take time and it does take practice, but it is so worth it. And combined with mindset, obviously, when I was going through quite a bit of depression, you really have to consider your surroundings, your diet, your exercise, your community, because if you are feeling like no one understands you and you have no one to reach out to, it's so important to go find a support group or a therapist or someone that's been there that you can connect with, so you're not continuing to isolate because you feel like no one understands you in your current network. And considering, while you're rewiring your brain, if you need to rewire some things about your environment, you need to be more mindful about your sleep and going to bed without distraction so that you're sleeping better, so you wake up feeling less tired and less anxious. And also considering what foods might be agitating your emotional state. So sugars might be a good time to start eliminating or cutting back on sugar, or maybe even considering cutting back and eliminating gluten for a while, because that sometimes can lead to fogginess in the head. And definitely highly advise cutting out alcohol for a while, because it is a depressive, and if you're already feeling depressed, it's just going to compound your symptoms. So trying to get to the place where you're replacing sugars and alcohol and maybe gluten for a while with other things. So maybe reaching for a cup of tea when you want to reach for a drink, or reading a book when you want to drink. So finding out other activities that can help replace the behaviors that you're used to engaging in when you're depressed, and finding other ways that can support you so that you start to lift out of your depression and start to find ways to build yourself back up. And then again, just kind of reaching day by day for little changes. So going for a longer walk, going to a meetup group, or calling a friend, or finding a book that's inspiring, like finding out ways that keep you on that long journey out of the darkness, and keep finding little bits of light, and keep feeling what feels a little bit better and what feels a little bit better. And then just keep paying attention. Like, when I eat this way, I feel better. When I don't eat sugar, I feel better. When I don't drink alcohol, I feel better. When I actually tell myself positive things, I feel so much better. And so why wouldn't I want to at least give it a try? Because when I feed myself negative things, I know I feel like crap. So being able to experiment a little bit and see what works for you, and then practice it and practice it and practice it and refine it so it does become really part of who you are. So I hope that answers your question, Christine. And if anyone else has questions or would like to hear more about mindset work, feel free to put comments below or reach out to me and send me a message. Thanks for watching. Bye.